This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
At 3:39 p.m. I'm calling us to order. We'll roll call in. Bonnie Atkins here. Laura Scott present. Megan Harvey here. I'm now opening the floor for public comment. Seeing none. And I didn't even bring Walter to have a comment this time. I'm going to shut it right down, and we will launch right into agenda items. However you want to take it.
So I have put together a packet for you. So the first page, this is the same breakdown that I present during school committee meetings for our quarterly reports. Figured, right, we're kind of looking at this. So we have FY25 actuals. Keep in mind that includes the $300,000 supplemental appropriation for FY25. FY26, what our approved budget is for the current year, and then FY27 proposed. Change in dollars and then change in percent overall. So this is based on a very thorough overview of every single account. Right, so we have looked at all of them, and this is what the full FY27 budget looks like. On the bottom, I then sorted all the accounts by increase largest to smallest, right, just to get a sense of sort of where the big cost drivers are. And surprising nobody, cost drivers are special education and vocational tuition, teacher salaries, special ed transportation, and technology equipment, because we've added the Chromebook refresh cycles in there. So I don't think any of this should be a surprise to y'all. I think it's in line with what we've been talking about. Right, so
are the teacher salaries part of the instructional services line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So administration is central office building principals. Right. Instructional services is anything with an account code that starts with the 2000s. Right. So that's teachers, paras, textbooks, instructional materials, all of those things. Other student services is anything that comes with students that isn't in the 2000s. So that's nursing and student activities. Right. Then I think the rest of it is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Any questions about that breakdown?
What's the fixed charge?
Fixed charge that we have a couple of small insurance costs. So the like liability and casualty insurance for athletics, and then the bond that we have to have on our staff that handles cash. Right. So the student activity, Lisa McCullough at the high school who handles all the student activity funds, Brian, Maria, myself, right? We have bonds so that
a surety bond?
Yeah.
I have one too.
Yep.
Okay.
And then also the cost that we pay to LPVAC for processing disability Medicaid claiming stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. It's small anyway. It looks nice to have a 0%.
Yeah.
What's your gut feeling seeing that?
My gut feeling is to buckle my seatbelt and do my best to see what we can do to make this work.
Yeah. You saw the news back yesterday.
Okay.
They had the same, their level service would have been that 9.5% increase. And they're talking about doing not that much. It's pretty significant.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah, right.
that's my my goal.
Yeah. So these numbers include keeping the staff we currently have, doing some reallocations, using some people in some slightly different ways. There was one FTE change moving somebody from a 0.8 to a 1.0 position, but other than that, right, there's no additions in here and there's no cuts in here.
And just to clarify, like, the reason I'm giving a nebulous answer like that is because I'm about halfway through.
Yeah, we're still early. Yeah.
And so, I still haven't done police or fire but I did DPW. So, those are the cost drivers.
Sure.
It's schools, police,
Us first,
fire.
and then those three.
Yeah. And so until I have like the whole picture.
Yeah. 100%. That's what I'm just asking for a gut. Yep.
Yeah. So like I said,
look at this and immediately go.
I mean, there's a part of me that does, I mean, it's kind of in between that.
Yeah. 9.5 feels like a lot, but then it's interesting to see all these other districts are saying level service would have been 9.5.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty typical, especially given contracts.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's not like you can be like, oh, we're not going to provide transportation this year.
Right. Or out of district tuition.
Right. I mean, so, I think once we have the complete picture, then we'll be able to, see exactly what kind of maneuvering we need to do.
Yep. We tried really hard to make sure it was under 25.
That's good.
24.9 is probably a better sell.
Yeah.
The next page, you would ask for some clarity around sort of spending that we have that is not related to the general fund. So I figured I would break down sort of other funding sources that are targeted to support the operational budget. Right. So school choice, right? Those are the offsets that we've talked about. Yeah. These are the same that we've had the past couple of years, right? $500,000 goes towards the middle school teacher salary line. There's no logic to that other than it's a big line and it's easy to do one journal entry at the end of the year instead of targeting a bunch of small ones. Same thing with transportation. I am changing a little bit the way those offsets were. Nick used to prorate it based on, I don't know if he did it by ridership or people. I'm still trying to dig into that formula, but between the regular and the voc line, and for accounting purposes, it's much easier to just target it towards one line. Mm-hmm. Right. So circuit breaker, right? We had talked the first meeting about keeping the offsets from circuit breaker for FY27 the same as they are currently for FY26. So 800 for tuition and 120,000 for transportation. This special ed 240 grant. That's not the entirety of the grant. The grant also covers some stipends, some PDs, some materials, other things, right? But we have historically used a chunk of that for a couple of like really high cost placements. So we're continuing to do that.
If this goes through and these numbers hold, then what would the remaining balance of school choice circuit breaker be?
It would be what I gave you on that sheet 2 meetings ago.
I have that.
Okay, thank you. The transportation revolving fund, that's the money that we take in from the Fill the Bus program when people pay for bus passes. Right, so we'll talk about revenue a little bit in the next, but that number has been pretty steady for the past couple of years. Title I, we did hear that because Title I is an entitlement program, it's based on student enrollment. And statewide, I'm sure you've all heard about the drop in enrollment statewide. So Massachusetts Title I funding was cut for next year. So currently we have, in the past, we've had 3 FTEs that we used as reading interventionists. This year we had 2 because we weren't sure about having to expand that kindergarten classroom. We ended up instead hiring an additional float para for kindergarten. So currently in Title I, there's 2 reading interventionists and that kindergarten float para. For next year, it looks like we can fully fund 2 reading interventionists, and then we're not sure sort of how the numbers are going to shake out. The problem is that if we split fund somebody, once we put something onto the general fund, we can never put it back in Title I. Right? Because it's one of those supplemental supplementals. Exactly. So we can't just say, well, we'll hire 3 and we'll pay part of their salary out of Title I and part of their salary in general fund, because once we do that, we're stuck with that.
When you say never, you mean like in future fiscal years?
Yes. Okay. Yep. And then the tuition revolving account.
Makes it more complicated.
Yes. We historically paid for 2 paras out of that tuition revolving account. So that's what the money that comes in from our pre-K students that pay tuition, that are the peers in the classrooms. And we've also had over the years, occasionally we'll have a student that is tuitioned in to participate in one of our special ed programs. We no longer have that student, right? So we may have to look at FY27 being the last year we can fund those 2 para positions out of that, just because we're not bringing in the revenue. Because we used to bring in 60 grand a year from another district that can send a student to us. And then athletic revolving.
And because it was a special ed student, it found its way into tuition revolving versus like school choice.
Because it was an agreement with this, they tuitioned the kid into us, that was student, because they couldn't service them.
Got it.
Right. So it was a tuition agreement, right, as opposed to a school choice seat. That's a great question though. Athletic revolving, we've sort of kept everything the same. The only change to athletic expenses was the $1,000 increase in coaches' salaries, because we're moving lanes in their in the coaching salary contract. And then the food service revolving program, that number is kind of fluffy in the program fully funds itself, right? No money goes out of the general fund, no money goes into the general fund. That basically pays the contract. Yeah.
Are these athletic transportation fees going to change at all with the vans that we have now?
That's why I didn't increase them at all,
Okay.
assuming that we will save some money because some of our smaller teams, golf, swimming.
Yeah.
They're running. But
Nothing.
Cross country can just run to the meets, right?
a little warm up for them. Yeah. So
Yeah, we're
sort of
excited about that.
planned spending, right? There's an additional sort of $3 million of spending that is not coming from general funds that we're aware of. This doesn't include other grants that we might get that are competitive, that are runoff, that come from the state, or things that happen. We will make sure in the budget book that a full summary of all of our grants is in there, because we did get some, 1-year grants, like the hate crimes prevention grant, some of those things. But we typically don't use those to fund positions, right? We fund projects, we pay people stipends or things with them. We buy materials, curriculum, we bring in outside vendors, we pay contracts, but we generally don't pay people out of those kinds of grants.
I just have a quick question on the
Yep.
transportation. Have we signed the new contract yet that we authorized?
For transportation.
Yeah.
We'll have to do another one because next year will be year 5.
Okay.
And then next year we'll have to go to bid.
So I have a question about how fuel prices interact with our contracts. Can they?
That question came up today. I have to reread the contract to see if they have a fuel escalator clause. Okay. As news, I was driving in.
Yeah,
here this
I know.
morning. Yep, exactly. All right.
Maybe we can have something just at our next, not by tomorrow, but if we can just get a blip
Yep.
update.
I think it's going to depend on how long-term this might be.
Yeah, I just want to know if that's a possibility we're looking at, or is our transpo kind of locked, or is how fluid is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that language.
What the reading interventions, you mentioned the revolving. Para, would that still be in or no?
I don't think we'll need it next year based on the numbers that we're seeing. Right. Kindergarten enrollment is always one of those tricky things that we never know until August for sure.
We were, this year, it was like to the last day, we're like, do we need to open another classroom?
Yeah.
And it ended up like we could get by with the K flow. So we got by. And our census numbers are a little bit down. Our registration is active now, but we're monitoring it very closely.
It'll have a lot to do with the housing market in town this year.
Let's see if we can get some of these projects online.
And, we're also looking at,
It won't be obvious.
we're going to start choicing, right? Our school choice
No, none of
stuff is going to start coming in, and we have a wait list already.
Right.
That's gonna be a big
It's gonna be
influx.
huge.
I'm talking about just like your average inventory turnover.
I'm just trying to think if we have any projects that are gonna impact this year. I don't think so.
Maybe in January, but
Yeah, we're still a ways off for Sierra Vista. 385 Main is away.
Those
At
are new
least-
condos, those aren't movable yet.
But the Pleasant Street ones.
will be
back
by
to
January.
yeah.
But again, how many of those will be school age children? I don't know. They're starting at $650, going to
$699, I
$780.
Yeah, they're expensive.
And a 2-bed, so you don't usually get a lot of young kids in 2-bed. We'll see.
They're preserving the church. I think there's gonna be 4 units in the church. That's gonna be interesting. I think those are maybe have more bedrooms. I
See
don't
if
know.
they sell better than Ferry.
I think it would have to be well, it's all speculation. I can see a couple of like white tiles.
Yeah.
Maybe a 4 to 699.
Well, for post-COVID, we got city transfers. That dropped way off, though.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that. We'll see.
Well, it will be interesting to see also too the impact of the new schools. Because that should be
Right.
coming online
Mhm.
more so in this year, next year, right?
Yeah,
But we
I
like-
watch the moms groups to see the chatter, and there's always people talking about where to go, and we used to not get mentioned or just get
No.
crashed, and now it's the opposite.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have the new facilities in the region.
Yeah.
So that means something.
And a really notable new addition, staff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about the staff, like they don't talk about the buildings. That's just kind of a given. They talk about the staff. Yes.
Like you're mentioned a
Yeah.
lot.
It's true.
Yep.
It's the basketball video.
Magic. Everybody brings up that video. I was like, she does like actual incredible work. And they're like, I know, but it was so cute with the basket.
Wait for next year. Wait for next year. We're going viral next year.
Excellent.
Mark my word.
Do it. Today's show.
Sorry,
Here she comes.
sorry, Julie.
Sorry.
Oh, no, guys. Any questions about the sheets?
No.
Right. This one is for Salem. He had asked about,
Thank you. Appreciate
revolving
that.
funds. So this sheet is what I end up preparing as part of getting ready to do the end of year report. So we have, so it's always kind of a year behind, right? So we have start of year balance, revenue, so money that came in, money that went out, and the ending cash balance, right? According to matching with the city accounts. Right, athletic revolving, did we try to keep a balance in there because we never know when major pieces of equipment might break? The chapter 71 revolving has a bunch of sort of different things lumped into it. That's building rental fees, tiny tots, student testing. So that's when kids pay fees for AP testing or PSATs. A lot of that money is in and then out, right? Kids pay us, we pay college board. IT, they bring in some revenue that they use for repairing Chromebooks, right? When they sell additional chargers when kids lose them, things like that. And then the transportation piece. So those are all sort of lumped in one group. Right, we see circuit breaker is on here. The end of year balance at the end of 25. Remember, we used an extra chunk of circuit breaker to address the deficit last year. Right, revenue that came in during 25, and then expenses. Right, so we had planned on spending 800 from circuit breaker, but we spent 935. Right, so we spent more than we meant to. So cash balance at the end of 25 was about $100,000. We know though that we're bringing in 1.3 in revenue for this year, right, based on the FY25 claim. The gift accounts, I'm still wrapping my brain around a little bit. They're a little squishy.
How did we have an 18K balance in the gift account at the elementary? Like, where the hell did that money come
Well,
from?
because it probably, when we combined all of the schools, there was probably, 5 at Maple, 5 at Center, 5 at Pepin, right? So over time, right?
And now, just
That's like
sorry
people
for.
writing checks.
I was gonna say, is it just someone like writing a gift to the
It could
school?
also be through fundraising, if they do candy sales, if
Right.
they do all those historic, breakathons, whatever, those kinds of things.
There's a line for your little playground.
Well, wait a minute. What's the distinction between, so PTA is totally
Yeah.
separate because they have their own nonprofit. And so, and the classes, like the class years,
Yep.
those are separate.
Yep. None of this is student activities.
So what fundraiser, like just some random mom is like, let's do a butter break? I think that's
Well,
matter.
it could be
It's
like
a
the school
minutiae.
dance, it could be.
Oh, okay. All right.
like-
That's what I was just looking for, like, where in the
Bingo for
world?
books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, those
Okay.
kinds of things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or back in the day when they would like give school lists, possibly.
Yep.
Right, some parents would just give money. Yeah, instead of the school list, because they would say anything you can come up with or
Yeah.
cash or something.
And
Do that again.
the principals do know that they have these funds that they can use, and I direct them towards these whenever they ask for something that I don't have a good way of purchasing, right? Every now and then we want to purchase something, but if it doesn't fit into the categories of things that Desi says are allowable expenses, right? So if we want to buy pay to show a movie and have popcorn and whatever is a reward for students. So things that might fall under PBIS, incentives for kids, right? Those or staff recognition, right? Those kinds of things come out of those gift accounts.
Like buses for CTIC visits and things like that are gonna be something that would need to come.
Right, and a lot of times they use that for like field trips. Right, if they don't want to charge the students the full cost, right? They can use their gift and donation accounts for those things. Insurance recovery, that's when we charge kids for vandalism and those sorts of things. Right, haven't had a lot of action in that. That's great. That chapter 44 revolving is really, the insurance recovery is actually, I don't even know what that insurance recovery account is. I will look at that. The chapter 44 revolving, that's all lost books and vandalism restitution.
I feel like my kid might be the one responsible for that one lost book.
Again, right, there's not a lot of action in those.
It's like at the competition of which kid. Mars. I have a story for you later, Michelle.
Right, okay. Meal tax, that money is in
It's a
and
good
out.
one.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Thank you.
one for when adults purchase meals, right, we have to pay the state meals tax on that. Outside custodial services, so that's when our custodians are in the
Sorry,
building
wait,
working.
when the adults buy a meal, we pay them.
The adults pay sales tax.
Okay, sorry. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I remember.
It's probably almost entirely teachers. Because I
Yeah,
used to get hit with that attack.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
we have to remit that to the state.
Got it.
Outside custodial services, that's when custodians are working in buildings because a group that is not ETSD is having an event there. So
Okay.
basketball leagues, those things.
Yeah.
School choice, right? We see that revenue coming in last year was 700,000, right? We spent 1.46,
Yeah.
right? We're going to spend 1.2. We spent 1.4 because again, that's how we addressed the deficit last year. School lunch Again, the money that's in there can only be used for school lunch, for equipment related to school lunch. Anytime Larry and his guys have to order parts or things for cafeteria equipment comes out of that instead of our facilities and maintenance budget, which is great. We expect that we are going to get an audit finding. Bessie is coming out to do an audit of our school lunch program. Every 3 years, they do administrative review, and they're going to say that we have too much money on account.
The 300.
I wonder if, can we use that to like do improvement for the outdoor lunch spaces?
That would be tricky. I can ask that during the audit, right?
Because it's like, how do you spend
Yeah,
that?
what are the parameters for that?
Yeah.
Wait, can we put a pavilion in? For kids to eat under?
I'll look into it. There's very strict about, it has to be directly related to your food service program. So like you can buy cafeteria tables, and you can buy POS equipment. A lot of other districts are spending down that money by refreshing capital equipment in their kitchens if they have older buildings. They don't have older buildings.
Just replace the dishwasher
Dishwasher.
GU unit was the
Yeah.
last problem. That's already done.
Yeah,
Can we do all the lights in the serveries and the cafeteria areas? Because I mean, we are looking
Yep.
like at the LED
Yep.
and the amount
I
of
mean,
that for the schools. It's
Mountain
like,
View is already that way,
right.
right? 'Cause
So this
it's
is just for the high school.
Yeah, I can. Right?
Yeah.
Or
Anyway, just
or the other thing I'd be interested in is if we can make, get us again, it's the not take home thing. Because I was gonna say like Friday bags and stuff that we
No.
yeah,
No, it has to be.
somebody write to the USDA.
Right, so unfortunate.
It really is.
I don't know how much
I
response.
did get a response, I got a response from the Biden administration and then,
But,
you know how that went, so.
yeah.
Right, so I can ask for your administrative review. Again, a lot of districts are having that problem. I think what's going to end up happening is that the state is going to figure out some sort of sliding scale
Mm.
for the statewide free meals. Because like currently the state is paying for free meals for Wellesley. Right, that's a community
Yeah,
that doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Brookline, Newton, Wellesley, like
Yeah.
Right.
probably don't need
Yeah.
that.
And they're even saying like,
Yeah.
let's make it fair.
Yeah.
And they have overrides built in every
Or
3
we could
years.
start
So
doing like maybe providing more snack up like stuff throughout the day, have snack stations or something. Like, we'll have to see what they say our parameters are.
yeah,
And then we also have to look at our contract because, right,
That'd be great.
the profit margins of those things are built into
Sure.
the food service management company contract. So,
Maybe
How
we could
about-
just go back to Chartwell's and ask
Oh,
them
I
to start
just-
giving us higher quality food and charging.
well, that's what I was gonna say. How about we look
Yeah,
at
like of
the
it.
greenhouse where it becomes a school
Yes.
project to grow,
Yes.
do like
I
food.
mean, they're doing some
Production.
of that through the middle school, through, they've got
Mass
a grant,
Fresh.
the Mass Fresh grant,
Yeah,
right? They're doing some of that, but again, right,
Staffing.
when you sign a contract with a food service management company, they are agreeing to a certain profit level.
right.
Right. And if we start saying, well, spend more on food, like we're basically asking them to violate their own contract.
Oh,
Right. And so when we go to bid the next time, right, we can change the parameters of the contract. Right. And so Desi's done a lot of work around that contract template that I haven't paid a lot of attention to yet because I haven't had to. But it's definitely something that we can talk
but we
If
just,
we're gonna get dinged with an audit, I think we can go to Ken and say, hey, we gotta look like, is there a way to amend the contract for next school year?
Yeah, I mean, we know, like, I would say probably 2/3 of the communities in the state have that finding, right?
Interesting.
And Desi's well aware of it.
well, so I didn't know until Pause and Pivot Farm came into the American Legion.
Yeah.
They have, this would be a great way to spend the money. It's like a shipping container. It's fully decked out to be a self-contained greens growing. So lettuce and all, so they actually, if you want to see it, they have installed it now. It's a shipping container that's retrofitted and you can grow like a significant amount of food in it. It's pretty cool.
It's the staffing and the permanent that
That's,
worries
I was
me.
just thinking,
Yeah.
about,
And
like, the
utility
staffing,
costs.
who's gonna, like, I know we had some ideas. I was like, oh, we could do like wall
Yeah.
gardens and things
Yeah.
like that. And they're like, okay, who's maintaining it?
Yeah.
Maybe the high schoolers could do that work.
Oh, that could be a class.
Oh, yeah. Well, we gotta figure out the parameter first and
Yeah.
then we can push up against it.
There is a broken ice machine at
I like that.
MVS.
Or maybe we put it to the staff
It's
and
not
say
even
we have,
luxury. I
let's
don't
say we
think
have
I'll
100K
just
up for grabs, do their own
custodian,
proposals.
Micro grants.
Yeah, that,
Call it
yeah. we
closet
talked
in the
about-
gym.
Oh, okay.
That ice maker is broken.
Why do we have an ice maker? I mean,
For athletics.
Concessions probably.
Well,
Oh,
that's what
and-
I use it for, but I haven't been
Oh.
able to, I've been buying ice all year.
When you sprain your ankle, you need to have an ice machine.
There's no ice. I tell the custodian every single week, but they're also like, okay.
And some of us aren't animals. If I get a can of Dr. Pepper, I'm not just drinking it out of the can. You gotta serve a Dr. Pepper with rice. Right here.
That's why that's the only reason I know the ice is there. To pull that drink from concessions. Gross. So there is something to fix.
but it's not related to the food service program.
But it's
No.
It's not.
Can we drag it into the cafeteria? Plug it back
Oh,
in?
where is it? It's not
It's
in the kitchen?
gym.
What about developing like, and Laura and I, a little bit like a composting program?
Yeah.
We
Or-
met with the company, we talked to them a little bit about it.
Because it is a thing, right? Because
Custodial contracts are,
right. Yeah, I mean, because there's a curriculum component,
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's a whole thing.
I think maybe kicking it to this, if we identify the boundaries and we identify an amount of money, and then we kick it to the staff and say, in 2 weeks, send us proposed curricular proposal that would fall within these guidelines, and we could do, like there could be a stipend, because they've got to want to do it, or they're gonna
That's right.
not do
And
it well.
And it can't feel like it's more work.
That's right.
Like,
that was a problem, like, and
Right.
it was really weird, the composting bins have to stay outside, and
Yeah.
there's huge bear problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Mountain View particularly,
That's what
they
they're
like
Oh, yeah.
rabbit holes.
They're
Oh
like-
my gosh. Yeah, we
Yep.
have a lot of bears.
They're
out
like,
there.
it is the biggest
It's a
bear
wildlife
attractor.
Well, it is until, never mind.
Okay,
It's a wildlife corridor, you get a lot of bears.
that's what, like, the custodians were like, you have no idea the bears that were.
Yeah.
Like, bears and bees. Bears
Yep.
and bees.
Bears and
Yep.
bees.
Yep. It's somebody with a mini farm on her property, I can attest that. It's true.
Better.
Last thing in the packet, these are 3 pages that I pulled out of last year's budget book. That were the capital requests that I feel like we've been sort of pushing forward and talking about for several years now.
Bless you for organizing this.
The video surveillance at the high school,
Right.
the phone system at the high school, and some networking things at the high school. So I know 2 of these we have sort of slated potentially, if there's earmarks for FY 26, right in that
Potential
fair
update.
share.
Potential update.
So, and we'll see, but I have, the previous administration closed out our ARPA funds incorrectly. I need to reopen them 1st of April and there's a possibility we have unspent ARPA funds. One of the line items that we used ARPA funds for were cameras upgrades for this building. We might be able to reopen that purchase order and take care of the cameras for the high school.
What sort of total do we have now?
I think we could potentially cover the whole thing.
You think it's like 300?
I'm not exactly I don't know. So ARPA funds are very
Yeah.
constricted as
Yep.
far as like, but since it was for camera
Sure.
upgrades,
Sure.
Yep.
we might be able to
Yeah.
extrapolate that, reopen the original PO
Yeah.
and then be able to take care of
Sure.
at least that. And
That'd be-
if not the phones too.
Yeah.
So like,
Okay.
that's gonna be my push is because at the end of the day, those funds, if unspent, could be recouped by the federal government. I'm not looking for that.
Right.
No.
So I'm finding ways that we can kind of get those spent as soon as possible and
Sure.
get creative about,
That's
you know,
great.
making sure
That's
that we stay within the
great.
parameters, but
Great.
take care of our needs.
Yeah.
Well done, Mayor.
So thank you.
We also, there might be one other addition of that I could throw in there.
Okay.
I mean, if you.
Hey, listen, right now I'm taking orders.
Yeah. The only other capital thing that I've been told about is the dump truck.
Mhm.
Right, that I sent Larry an email and I will,
To get the snow out?
Sand.
moving mulch, sanding,
Yep.
all those sorts of things. I guess it's very old and starting to rust out.
And I mean, they used to just go to auction and buy like shale vehicles and fix them. That's what we did
Well-
forever and ever and ever and ever.
And there is a possibility. So I have I'm just reviewing DPW
Yeah.
and highways, the capital plan. You know, they have some, not that we necessarily want hand-me-downs, but they have some trucks that they're looking to replace that are like full service,
Yep.
like in action trucks that they
Take
want to
those.
kind of like take probably because the way that they're using them is not sustainable.
Yeah.
So they're looking to replace those and that could potentially free
Yeah,
up something that
Grounds,
would be.
grounds instead of road.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Could be
It's a
something that
different
would
thing
work.
than
Yeah.
So
Sand Mountain Road versus
That's right.
Mountain
exactly,
View.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I like, as long as I know that, then I can kind of put that piece of the puzzle in the equation and we can get people.
When we all work together
It's amazing.
collaboratively and communicate.
It's very, it's amazing.
Crazy how
What can get done?
Yeah.
It's really amazing. So
Awesome.
Do you want to say what that other thing was? There was something you started.
not yet.
You said that you had a thing that you could add.
You had your.
Oh. I'm sorry. I was like,
You were making the emergency shut up now body face, so I.
Yeah. So our internet went down at EHS a couple of months ago. And it's because all right, this is my technical expertise far outweighing what, all right. So there's a virtual environment in which our servers operate. And the infrastructure is so old that they like put some bubble gum and duct tape and repaired it, because when it goes down at the high school, it takes down central office
Right.
and it takes down MVS. So we go without
That was when we were without
internet for like 3 days. It's because of this virtual environment. We had to call in like an emergency consultant who band-aided it back together for us. It's basically cobbled together.
We
So
have to replace our virtual environment.
yeah, so it's basically the servers, like are the servers, how they all engage with one another. So Justin could probably tell you, but it is a matter of security because we don't want this old infrastructure leaves us possibly open to like, you know,
Or those
In
things.
that same time, Larry was saying, and Chief Custodian, when we were there during the forums, they were talking about how there is wiring already in the auditorium. That they just need to do a little bit of finish work so you can do live stream video and just ease, so they don't have to bring all of the equipment in.
Yeah.
And so if you, just like in home buying, if
Yeah.
you're getting an electrician there already,
Efficiency of services.
right?
So I've been talking to our IT about hardening our technical infrastructure, but in addition to that, coordinating with schools.
Yeah.
To look at potentially having a unified technology structure that supports the city and the schools. That is, so we don't have to pay twice
Yeah.
to do something where we can maybe pay a little bit more and have a really robust, up-to-date structure. So that's something that kind of, I have Karin, our IT director, looking at. So that's going to be probably a future conversation, because I feel like that is something I'm like,
Yeah.
why
I think
duplicate?
servers, networking, those kinds of things.
even software programs, right?
Right.
If you're looking at ClearGo, like,
Yeah.
well, let's not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Independent.
I forgot about that. I did get us a discount, by the way. So I just need to call back.
So you're gonna do it across platforms,
So we would,
city and school side.
yeah,
So
That's
nice.
great.
Good.
yep. And we'll all get a discount. So
It's been easy.
good.
Says the person who's like, Julia, you got it.
You got this. Has it really been that easy?
Spoke at it, sir. Things where, like, because we don't have revenue, there's some pieces of it we're not using.
Right.
Like on the dashboard, it wants you to plug in, like, here's the revenue that we're expecting, here's my expenditures. And right now, my dashboard is like,
Ah,
Yeah.
you have all
freaking
these
out.
expenditures, no revenue. I'm like, no. So there's some things like that that are a little, but,
So the only reason we're not going live for this budget cycle is because there's a lot of onboarding that needs to happen. And so we're going to do that. You know,
right, and the and the onboarding on
budget
your
season.
side would be much
it's going to be
more
huge.
complicated
It's
than
going to be
mine.
really big.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
have a tangential question. How do we manage right now the booking of school building rental?
There is a form.
It is, okay, so I want to throw out another capital suggestion. All these conversations we're having in the city about these different groups needing spaces to do activities.
Yep.
If we could create like an online platform to share
They're
availability.
awesome. Like,
School dude.
yeah.
Thing is, like, the seniors, one of their biggest complaints, and they might get their senior center, but in the interim, like the adaptive PE room,
Yeah.
at Mountain View, they can have a lovely weekend yoga class, because that's one of the things that they can't fit all their. So if we could try to streamline that and make
Yeah.
it what's available, what is there in that space? Do you need AV capability? Do you need access to bathrooms? Like, if we could just work that system a little bit.
I mean, two things with that is like you also, if we do that, right, it would require somebody to be like a
Yeah.
permit, like the building permit coordinator.
Sure.
Like right now, it's like, you know, we're set, it goes to our transportation slash business manager
The accountant,
who approves it, who then sends it to the school, which is fine, right? But if we start, like, do you need the AV equipment? And do you, like, if more people are using it, so these platforms that are already in existence, like do colleges, and it's amazing, right? And then you could order food, like the possibilities.
And it's also, it goes for review. Like my hairstylist has this, like you pick stuff and and then it goes to the boutique, like, and it'll be like, it's pending and then it's approved.
Yeah.
So there will be I'm just thinking for future plan, like,
I mean, it seems to be that in general, this district has not had the appetite to spend money on platforms and technology because it's much cheaper to pass around a piece of paper. But I think we're getting to the point where it's just so much more
if I'm cracking, they can all crack.
Yeah.
Nobody's a bigger Luddite than me.
Well, and it could potentially end up paying for itself.
Yeah. And it's a service to the community.
Oh,
And you never
I
know,
agree.
there's probably some sort of freeware out there that does it like perfectly.
Something. I'm just saying, I'd like to start looking into that. I'd love to have it, get moved forward toward
like Google Forms.
Right. I mean, every time I start
Yeah.
looking at that building use policy,
Yeah.
like I have a conversation with Bill, and then Bill is like, well, I was talking to Justin, and Justin was talking about, wouldn't it be great if the form is online? Right. And so like we have kind of circled this since I've been here.
What about the forms that parents do at the beginning of the year? I filled out that same piece of paper so many times.
They're all gonna be in Parent Square.
It's going to change this coming year.
Great.
Great.
That should
Yep.
save something.
A lot of things we're doing.
And it saves teacher time having to
Yes,
collect and
right.
alphabetize all those forms
That's
and then
right,
bring them down. Like that's
And
huge.
Read a parent's handwriting.
Postage, sending things out, right? There's lots of things that I
That's
think
right.
I know.
Parent Square is gonna help.
Yeah.
So that's all I have from a budget standpoint for FY 27.
Okay.
I do have an FY 26 update.
Okay.
Not on the agenda, but
We have other business that is on the agenda.
okay. So in sort of dotting all the i's and crossing the t's and really diving into FY 27 expenses, it looks like we're sitting on a deficit again in out of district admissions for FY 26. About 700. Which actually doesn't surprise me given that our increase for next year is 1.1.
I know.
Because a lot of it is the same students that led to the deficit last year because they were mid-year placements that weren't in FY 25 budget
Yeah.
and also weren't FY 26 because FY 26 was developed before, right, that happened. So I think we're gonna have about 200,000 in vocational tuition surplus this year because we had sort of smaller groups accepting positions and staying at Smith and CTEC. So there's some savings there. I think we're gonna have somewhere in the 50,000 in savings for homeless and foster care transportation. Knock on wood, so far this year, we haven't had any homeless transportation expenses, right? So I think we'll be able to cover a chunk of it through those two accounts. Right.
School choice is going to get refreshed, correct?
Yep. And so I think we will be able to take up the rest of it.
I wrote down, so I said the balance.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that first is the balance plus is our estimated.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think we'll be able to cover it. But again, I'm trying to
So I think that it puts it into context though. So why our budget ask is a little bit like that one. I think it's important to
Does the FY 27 ask include those OODs?
It includes every kid that we know of right now.
Okay.
It includes
So we're fixing this.
it includes students that are currently on 45-day evals who we think are going to get placed.
Okay.
It includes anybody that's on Antigone's radar. It also includes two other pieces that apparently we've never budgeted for. I budgeted for two placements at SSDC, which is where we send students for long-term evals, right? Typically we send kids there anywhere from a 15 to a 45-day placement. I budgeted for two 45-day placements.
Great.
Right. the other thing that we've apparently never budgeted for is the special ed services for students at Smith. Right? We get a bill and we just sort of figure out and pay for it. Now there is a line item. I mean, it's baked in.
It's a high percentage of those kids that like need a little extra support. That's often why they go into the vocational.
Yep.
Okay. All
And
right.
and it's
Like, all right.
over the
Good.
past couple of
Good
years,
catch.
it's averaged about $25,000 a year. Right?
Yeah.
But so now
Right.
that is baked
Yeah, so-
into, right? So in that 1.1 million increase for special education tuitions, right? Those are in there now.
So if we cure this now, it's not gonna haunt us in the same way that it's this extra
Well,
slap out, unless we get new kiddos coming in.
You never know.
Like, it's not the same redux smacking us.
Right, but the 700 shortfall, gives me like, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense why we have a 35% increase for
Yeah,
the
sure.
following year.
Yep.
Because,
Sure.
I mean, we,
Because Elaine and I sat here on Saturday and made sure that every kid that we're aware of, and there's still a couple of things. So we have a student at Connecticut Education Center, right? That program's rate is not set by DESE because it's not in Massachusetts.
Mistake.
We don't know what that is. So I have an estimate for an increase on that. Same thing we have a student at a placement in New York State. Same thing, that rate is not set by DESE. So there's a few variables, right?
Sure.
That could still,
But you're accounting for the things that we are like, almost certain, that great, good catch.
but we're also building a process to which we're constantly reevaluating our out of district placements.
Yeah.
Do we both still live here?
Yeah.
Do we, we are,
That's important.
We just saved some cash, didn't we?
yep,
Yeah.
yes. And less.
And what about like out of district placements that then are no longer out of district? They don't need
No longer
like,
require.
require
like our 20 aging out.
intensive care.
Or just
Or just-
healed.
Or just
To be
they're
in
better
general
and they've got the supports, and then they choice. I'm
Wow.
curious about that population, choice out of Easthampton. Like if we've,
That's a real kick in the balls.
I mean, it happens, right?
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
happens.
I mean, they could choice into, I don't know, vocational program, right? They
Still
could voice,
cheaper, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
right, I mean, it's still cheaper than those placements, but I wonder, like, are we?
The most expensive placements though are the residential placements for those people.
So you're telling me we're not having enough of a relationship with these families while
Well,
they're
I wonder,
out of
right? Like,
district,
well, they
right.
really, are they thinking, oh, we can come back, we can actually
Yeah.
get what we need in our town? I mean, we want them to be exactly where they get everything they need to get. And there's certainly school choices out there.
Yeah.
But is there something we need
Yeah.
to be doing to help bridge that gap a little bit sometimes?
I mean, I think we're at a place right now where we have a potential out of district, but it would be the same if we open another classroom. So we're at, do you decide to open another classroom in-house or do we send out of? And and those are the conversations, right? Can we meet the needs of the student in district by adding adding another program?
And just in general, Michelle's communications is just vastly better and different than we
so
had. I don't think it'll
imagine-
be a problem moving forward.
Right.
But how much of an impact does it have? It's a good
Yeah.
question.
Right, I'm just, because I hear about
There's
that
always
sometimes,
animosity,
right? Like
about a
that
district.
they don't necessarily, that
Yeah.
people don't necessarily return. Sometimes because they actually have established relationships in other school districts or with peers that they've met. And so you want the most successful placement anyway, especially when they're making a big
Or
change.
if there was a lot of trauma leading up to
Yeah.
the switch
Yeah.
to an out of district.
Right.
Yep.
But, and I just imagine that we could, we just have to be attentive to it.
Yeah.
Because I think just putting our attention on that particular thing.
Same thing with temporary, homeschool pull-ups, all that kind of, but again, the homeschool kids, it's not costing us anything if they did,
No, but it's enrollment.
Yeah.
But we don't want them coming in and jamming class size. You don't want to be hunting people down to put them in a classroom of 26. So it's be
Right.
be careful.
And sometimes that affects graduation. We want solid, great graduation rates, right? Like if kids, go outside because that's where they're getting their needs met at.
Yeah.
And they can't return successfully, right?
Yep.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
And what do we have to look at? Right?
Yeah.
I'm just unlocked a new fear. Thanks.
No. No.
I'm thinking about that all night. Okay. It's good though. No, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Yep.
And this means we're not in crisis if we're opening our
Right.
brains to sit
And
here
looking at,
yeah.
you know, because I do think we have to look at the wide swath.
Sure.
And we have the ability to, with the kind of detail you guys are providing. Like, this is a big deal.
Just
So
wait
we
till the
can look
press
at it.
around budget season for the next 2 months. Watch what the stories they write about Easthampton
already?
and the stories they're writing everywhere else.
Like already, it's like, every
They haven't
day.
covered us yet. It's coming.
Because we're boring.
Yeah, we're boring.
They're hunting us down.
Sam,
They've approached us. Yeah.
Boring too.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean,
After
yeah.
the meeting, yeah.
So I guess the last piece of business related to this is I believe you all need to vote this budget proposal forward to the whole.
Bum, 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 bum. This is the best budget season I've ever sat through.
This is
so
really,
good.
truly the best budget ever. No pressure at all.
None of us sound like screw this up. Man.
Just give me alerts. Yeah, and there's nothing going on in the world right now, too. Damn little stuff. Just-
We can solve our own budget right now. Motion,
Sure, yes. What is the
Yes.
motion?
Motion to approve the budget request as outlined by Julia Sorry Franks and move forward to the full committee.
Fiscal year 27 budget request.
Did I not give you enough words?
I don't know, I'm trying to. Okay, as put forward.
This is why, this is me off the cuff.
For tomorrow.
I
to
feel like, yeah.
Full committee. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And just for fun, we're gonna roll call vote it. Bonnie Atkins. I approve. Laura.
Abstain. Okay. Aye.
And Megan Harvey. Yay.
Oh, God.
Okay, let's adjourn this because I have a meeting to go to.
Okay, okay.
And I want to
Motion
talk.
adjourn. I can start when you're way downstairs. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And I'll be right back.
Second.
We'll walk through
And
downstairs.
we are adjourned at 4:25.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.